Good morning, everybody. And you're all really, really welcome. What a great gathering of great people. You don't know it yet, but I think once you have the opportunity to network with the people, even at your table, because I think I know a lot of you in the room. I know kind of where you're coming from. And the aim and objective of this is that we have the power of the potential in this learning space. Okay, so unfortunately our closed captions aren't working, but for anybody who's joining us online, you will have the Teams function. So if you turn on the closed captions on the Teams function, you should have the closed captions available to you for the presentation. And the recordings of the opening address will also have the closed captions available, and we'll make those available on the Include website. So just a brief acknowledgement of the fact that this is the 7th international conference of ICEQ, which normally is hosted by our colleagues from Morocco, from Ibn Zohr University. And we're very honored to have that here at the University of Worcester this year. Yeah, thank you. And that has been made possible by the cheerleaders at the back, whose job is to cheerlead. And those are the Inclusion by Design research network here at the University of Worcester, in collaboration, I think, with that wider international network called Include, the International Collaboratory for Leadership in Universally Designed Education, which Richard Jackson and I, along with Betsy Dalton and some other great colleagues, started some 5 years ago. And in our plan, which we had to present to the Director for Learning and Teaching here at the University of Worcester, one of the objectives was to host an international conference. It's only taken us 5 years, but we have the best people in the room for that conference. All right, so you're all like very, very welcome. And really looking forward to the sharing of those journeys, to the sharing of those stories. I know that you're in your comfort places right now in regards to where you go to the people that you're familiar with within your departments and whatever else. But I would encourage you to really network with other people in the room. As I said, each of these tables are valuable insights across all continents of the globe, really, in this room. So it really is very, very exciting. But I'm using up too much of the space. Let me kind of call on my colleague, Professor Mustapha Aabi from Ibn Zohr University, to officially welcome you all to the opening of the conference.
Thank you very much, Sean. Thank you.
Actually, we'll follow protocol, but this is typical, maybe Irish guy kind of bending the rules, breaking the rules slightly. And instead, what we'll do is give you the official welcome to the University of Worcester. And we're so thankful, as I mentioned, that we are here at the University of Worcester, that we get to celebrate everything. And Professor John Paul Wilson will provide you into some great insights as to why we're here, why we're at this specific university. So over to yourself, John Paul. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. So I'd like to just formally welcome you again to the 7th International ICEQ Conference here at the University of Worcester. I'm going to say a little bit about the city of Worcester, partly to paint a picture for those people who are online and for those of you who don't know Worcester. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about the university. I'm not going to bore you for too long, and I'm going to hand over to Mustapha, who's probably got lots more interesting stuff to say than I have. So I don't know how well people know the city of Worcester. It's described in its tourist information as a university and cathedral city. And I'm going to come back to that university bit in a moment. If you haven't had a chance to see the cathedral yet, if you've just arrived, but you do, I would strongly recommend it for those people online. It's a wonderful medieval building, elements of which date back to the 11th century. It's home to various medieval dignitaries, including King John, and in fact also Prince Arthur, who was Henry VIII's big brother and would have been king. So it's a very historical place, a remarkable building in many ways, and I would very much recommend that you went and saw it. It's right next to the river. It's beautiful. It looks across to the cricket ground, if anybody's interested in that kind of thing. Worcester is famous for a whole range of other reasons as well. I know some of you have already seen that you've got little bottles of Worcester sauce in your goodie bags. So we're famous for Worcestershire sauce. We're famous also for porcelain, Worcester porcelain. The factory is now long closed, but I would imagine most people's grandparents still have a dinner set in their cupboard somewhere from Worcester. Worcester is also famous, and I have to say this because I am kind of a professor of history. I have to talk a little bit about history, even though this is an education conference. But Worcester is also the location of the final battle of the English Civil War, where the parliamentarians finally defeated the royalists, and the young King Charles II fled through the streets of Worcester. And you can see, again, if you wander around the city, you'll be able to see some of the sites of that famous battle. Famous in particular because it's often seen as the foundation of parliamentary democracy, the foundation of modern democracy. So lots of other things about the city. Really is worth seeing. Very beautiful city. I live here. Great place to live. But the other bit of that kind of tourist blurb, the university, is really important because my sister went to what was then Worcester College of Higher Education in the 1980s, and we were small. We were referred to as the College on the Hill then. If you've been to the St John's campus, it's just kind of over there. It was a very small higher education college. It was set up in 1946 as an emergency teacher training college, and a lot of the buildings from that period still form part of the campus. But we got university title in 2005. And since that moment, I think the university has really transformed, both in terms of its physical imprint, its curriculum, but also its research. And I want to say a little bit about that. So I arrived at the university in 2007. We were still College on the Hill, even though we were a university then, still a small university. We grew significantly, more than doubled our student numbers over that last 20-year period, but we've also physically expanded within the city. So you'll have seen, if you've had a chance to walk around, we're obviously in the fantastic arena, Worcester Arena, which is a purpose-built sports hall, purpose-built with the disabled athletes in mind, and we've housed, for example, the European wheelchair basketball championships. We have our own wheelchair basketball teams. So the arena is just one example of that expansion. You can see, well, you could see if there wasn't blinds up, you'd probably be able to see the Hive, which is another part of that expansion. And just to our right, a fantastic new building called the Elizabeth Garrett Anderson building, which I'll say a little bit more about in a moment. You'll see that golds are things, so lots of gold buildings scattered around the town. So the university now has 3 main campuses and a 4th just off further outside of Worcester called Lakeside Campus. So we've really significantly transformed in terms of our physical imprint, and that's had real benefits for the city of Worcester, hence the fact that we're now trailed as a university city. Real benefits to the community, both economic and social, and in all kinds of other ways as well. Now, our curriculum has developed alongside that. As I alluded to, education is our foundation subject. We were founded as a teacher training college, but our curriculum has expanded dramatically, particularly into areas of health. So nursing, midwifery, a variety of allied health professions. New this year, we have diagnostic radiography, but also, I guess, a really fundamental change is the advent of our new medical school, which is in that Elizabeth Garrett Anderson building just to the right of us. And that medical school is a really key part of our development. We've also have a law school, and we've really expanded into life sciences more broadly as well. So it's a very different looking university physically and in terms of its curriculum than it was when we got university title back in 2005. Our research is also really significantly developed and expanded over that period, and it's probably worth saying that as a university we're world renowned for our research in aspects of plant science and dementia care. We've got some really interesting historical research, but I think it's also absolutely key to say our educational research is also right at the forefront of our research direction. So, for example, alongside Sean's really important group around universal design for learning, we've got research groups focused on social psychology of education with a real strong focus on things like teacher identity and teacher attention, a growing group around social pedagogy, and I'm guessing we've got some of the staff from that group here today as well. I want to say one thing. We discovered last week they published the Times Higher impact rankings, and I'm contractually obliged to tell you this, but also I think this is a really significant thing in the context of this particular conference. So I don't know if people know the Times Higher Impact Rankings. They're global rankings where universities are measured against the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and your progress against achieving those goals is essentially assessed. And then you're ranked both within your country and globally. And we discovered a couple of weeks ago that we're #1 in the UK for quality education, which is SDG 4, which is described as organisations who ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and lifelong learning opportunities for all. And I think that really fundamentally reflects what the University of Worcester does. That I think is fundamental to the way that we deliver our curriculum, the way that we deliver our research. And I think today's conference is very much at the forefront of that. This focus on universal design for learning, opening up access to education, improving outcomes for people as they move through education is part and parcel of what the University of Worcester does. So I said I wouldn't speak for too long. I'm going to hand over now to Mustapha, and I really hope you have a really wonderful couple of days discussing these really important matters. And if you do one thing, do go and visit the cathedral.
Thank you very much. There is not much left there to say, Paul. You said it all. Yeah, thank you. That's it. Thank you. Very good morning, dear friends, dear colleagues. I'm really very honored to be here with you today. As ICEQ co-chair, I'm really as well. I'm very happy to be with you here today and to welcome you to this important and significant event. First, I would like to thank Professor John Paul Wilson for his inspiring introduction to the history of Worcester and giving us an overview of the University of Worcester. Thank you very much. Your commitment to excellence in research sets high standard for us all. Thank you very much for that, and this is why we are here. Today we are celebrating actually a close and fruitful collaboration between colleagues here at the University of Worcester, this collaboration led by my friend Dr. Sean Bracken. Sometimes I suspect he's got a team of hidden I don't know, helpers behind that, doing the work behind the scenes. Yeah. Yeah. and the colleagues, between the colleagues at Worcester and the colleagues from Ibn Zohr University. This synergy is a testament to our mutual commitment to advancing quality and inclusive education. One of the exemplars of this collaboration, to mention just one of them, is the project capability building project that goes beyond the confines of Morocco and the UK for training emergent academics in African countries, and that's sponsored and funded by a British Academy grant that was led by Dr. Sean Bracken as well. So that's just one example of how fruitful and close this collaboration has been. It has spanned over years across different projects, different initiatives, and several successes as well. I would like now I would like to, if you allow me, Sean and Paul, to read on behalf of Professor Bando, the University President and ICEQ Chair, welcome address he asked me to read on his behalf. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, dear esteemed colleagues, it is our great honor to welcome you all to the 7th edition of our annual conference. This year, for the first time, we are delighted to hold this edition at the University of Worcester. We would like to express our deep gratitude to Dr. Sean Bracken for his exceptional dedication and leadership in organizing this edition. Many thanks as well to our colleagues at the University of Worcester for their invaluable support. We also wish to warmly thank our extended ICEQ family, including both those present today and those unable to join us, for their dedication and hard work. Finally, we warmly invite each and every one of you to join us for the 8th edition of the conference to be held in Agadir in 2026. We look forward to welcoming you there and continuing our shared journey. Thank you all, and we wish you a fruitful conference. And as well, I wish you a productive and enriching conference. Thank you very much. Thank you.
That's super. So you have hopefully little piggy banks or some kind of little banks that you can put your money in. So I would encourage you to start saving, because there is nothing quite like the experience that you will have at Ibn Zohr University. Okay, so thank you so much for that warm invitation. And I'm conscious, John Paul, that you mentioned the Worcestershire sauce. I almost struggled with that myself, actually. And I think there ought to have been a little test to see if you could get your bottle of Worcestershire sauce in terms of your capacities to actually say the name of the city. It's famous or infamous for the tongue tripping that occurs with the Worcestershire sauce. I would say a thank you to Leah Perrins for those donated bottles of Worcestershire sauce. I accosted the production manager about this day last week in the car park, and he very generously donated the bottles of Worcestershire sauce for you. So I'm hoping that you're going to enjoy using those with the international cookbooks as well from our international colleagues. So I do want to kind of thank colleagues in the international office for their support as well today.